Danny Kaiser, and although this is only my sophomore year here at the FisherPoets Gathering, in that very short time, it's become very special to me, and that is because this is my home. I was born in this community right here in Astoria, Oregon, and my family has very deep roots in this community. I earned my very first commercial fishing dollar on this very river right out behind us here, gill netting with my uncle Jack Marinkovich. Both my mother and my father worked for Bumblebee Seafoods right here in Astoria, Oregon, up until they shut their doors in 1980. I would actually come down. This was the cold storage plant for Bumblebee Seafoods. My father worked just this side of the Megler Bridge at the main plant up there, but on the weekends my father would bring me down to this very building where I would fish off the dock while he would work here at the cold storage plant. I mean, literally my father's blood, sweat, and I'm sure some tears are in the very floor that we find beneath our feet right here. I almost find myself welling up with tears as I look at the beams above our heads and realize that my father could have very well driven some of the nails you see in those beams up there. So it's a very special place to be. I love this town. And I have spent my entire life commercial fishing, from the Columbia River up 15 winters in the Bering Sea, the Gulf of Alaska. I've Dungeness fish all the way down from the Canadian border all the way down to the Farallon Islands below above San Francisco there. So the piece I'm going to share here today is just something I penciled out sort of as my farewell to FisherPoets 2018. Glasses. Sunday has come, this trip has come to an end. The poems are unloaded, we will miss all our friends. Headed back to safe waters, looks like we'll survive. The works that we've shared with fishers and friends, these memories shall last until we're together again. The connection I feel runs deep in my soul. We laugh and we cry as the stories unfold. The weak and the strong, the meek and the bold. We all hold on tightly, embrace for more poems. The courage it takes to share a piece of one's life would not be so easy without our friends by our side. We all have our reasons for choosing this life and sharing the struggle that lives deep inside. Although it is sad, I won't shed a tear. FisherPoets 2019. We will see you next year. Thank you very much.
All right, I get 3 minutes at the mic, but only 30 seconds total with Nazina Elizabeth here. People always ask about her, so I wanted to bring her up. She's big enough to be an extinct spring hog. That would have been processed right here in Cannery. Clean energy jobs, it's on my hat. It's about putting a price on pollution so big industry in this state doesn't run the fishermen under. Yeah. And, I'm so proud of the work Brad Warren's done with the working group on seafood and energy, drafting what's one bill 1507, but it's going to make a big difference, and it's going to live or die this week. So I made a deal with the devil to print on this paper. If you haven't called about clean energy, please do. And my 40-second poem. It doesn't matter if your politics lean towards starboard nor towards port. These seas are rough. DACA, Me Too, kids dead in schools, and global warming. These times are like a gravel road of 60 miles all turned to washboard, except we got no wheels and no spare tire. We're a vessel lost at sea, which means when we go down, we all go down together. So bait those hooks and coil that tub to toss off astern despite storm warning. Find the strength of something when it's needed most. But till you're done with what needs doing, don't yet raise a toast.
McDaniel, aka Paddlefoot Ron. The writing workshops at Fisher Poets are fantastic, or so I thought. Reflecting back, I can't believe I didn't see the pattern. If anyone could learn to write poetry, it would be tantamount to a chicken in every pot. Average people writing poetry, scandalous. Hence, workshops were created as the Tower of Babel for art. The foundation of this Tower of Confusement is prose. So I offer this pose to explain competitive prose, a prose, the origin and derivative for the word propose. Nothing good comes from propose. This poem was entered into the poetry contest. To be precise in the way of an artist, this was the umpteenth annual contest. Lurking in the shadows was a diabolical plot to rid this gathering of a big-hatted stranger. And like a classic Shakespeare strategy, the schemers were closest to him. The cowboy translation of the famous Latin line in Julius Caesar, "Et tu, Johnny B?" And Mo, meaning most of everything. A name that traces back to Delilah, which means take most of everything. And Pat, my dear friend Pat Dixon, who so gallantly tried to sacrifice himself last night for my sake. Do you really think you're safe among these Confederates? Beware the Ides of March, Pat. 4 nautical words must be used, simple enough, but now the plan is hatched. The poem can't rhyme. And it must end with a rhymed couplet. That sounds like an obscure fitting for a hydraulic hose. And finally, the rule to ensure his demise, a 60-second time limit. So the poem. Cowboy, the mythical hero of the West. A land where your given name gives way to a more descriptive alias. Names like Cactus Pete, Snake Eyes Johnson depict the toughness of this American icon. That's why they named him Paddlefoot Ron. Since hanging around fishermen, he's gone plumb loco. He's 1 coil short of a full lariat. He don't even talk the same. Take a starboard at the next intersection. Or when he shouted, "Watch the bull on your port side," Gimp Johnson never saw it coming. Paddlefoot Ron, a fitting moniker for a dude that hangs with fishermen. Disgusting. What's next? Herding sheep? Or trading in his saddle for a washboard and doing laundry for rich bankers? And for what? For a wallet that's as empty as a lawyer's heart? But alas, the traitor gets his just deserts as the Fisher Poets plot against him. This cowboy won't go away. He doesn't seem to know the meaning of the word quit. That's it, they said. He doesn't know the meaning of most words. We'll require a poem that doesn't rhyme and use some nautical terms. And the coup de grace, said John, will require a rhymed couplet. And if by chance he pulls it off next year, will require a synonymed triplet. As Mo took a bite of her apple, she smiled, knowing his weakness, as she placed the stopwatch in her pocket. accept your challenge. Why, this ain't my first rodeo. So bring on your couplet, bring your pentamic meter, your juxtaposition, bring your highfalutin fancy discourse, because I'll mount your sunfishing literary bronc and I'll ride him like he was a kid horse.
Oh boy, that's a tough one to follow. I'm Clem Starck. I'm going to throw you a change-up. I'm going to read a baseball poem. It's called How I Became a Red Sox Fan. Donnie Vragel is to blame. He lived across the street from me. He was 10. I was 9. He was Catholic. I was Lutheran. He taught me baseball, the rules of the game. How to read the box scores, how to keep score, how to figure batting averages and earned runs. It was the summer of 1947. He said I needed to choose a favorite team. What are the teams? I asked. Well, he explained, I'm a Brooklyn Dodgers fan. They're in the National League. You should pick a team in the other league, the American League, where last year the Boston Red Sox won the pennant. You could be a Red Sox fan. Okay, I said. And that was that. Of course, I didn't know then about Johnny Pesky's botched relay, allowing the Cardinals' Enos Slaughter to score all the way from first on a single with the winning run in the 7th game of that 46 World Series. Nor was I prepared 2 years later for the cockamamie reasoning of the Red Sox manager who, on a hunch, he said, named Denny Galehouse, a bottom-of-the-barrel bullpen pitcher, to start against the Indians in the deciding one-game tiebreaker at the climax of the 48th season. Nearly 70 years later, today, mid-September 2017, the Red Sox clinging to a 3-game lead with the Yankees close behind, I can still feel myself in Miss Maroney's 6th grade listening to that game. And the years to follow, the list goes on, almost too painful to enumerate. The Bucky Dent pop fly home run over the Green Monster at Fenway in '78. The ground ball through Bill Buckner's crippled legs in '86 against the Mets. If you know baseball, you know these stories. And if you don't, I'm here to tell you this utter, passionate, benighted, inconsequential silliness is all because of Donnie Vragel.